Judges chapter 17. There was a man named Micah from the Ephraimite hill country. He said to his mother, "You know the 1,100 pieces of silver which were stolen from you, about which I heard you pronounce a curse? Look here, I have the silver, I stole it, but now I'm giving it back to you." His mother said, "May the Lord reward you, my son." When he gave back to his mother the 1,100 pieces of silver, his mother said, "I solemnly dedicate this silver to the Lord. It will be for my son's benefit. We will use it to make a carved image and a metal image." When he gave the silver back to his mother, she took 200 pieces of silver to a silversmith, who made them into a carved image and metal image. She then put them in Micah's house. Now this man Micah owned a shrine. He made an ephod and some personal idols, and hired one of his sons to serve as a priest. In those days Israel had no king. Each man did what he considered to be right. There was a young man from Bethlehem in Judah. He was a Levite who had been temporarily residing among the tribe of Judah. This man left the town of Bethlehem in Judah to find another place to live. He came to the Ephraimite hill country and made his way to Micah's house. Micah said to him, "Where do you come from?" He replied, "I'm a Levite from Bethlehem in Judah. I'm looking for a new place to live." Micah said to him, "Stay with me. Become my advisor and priest. I'll give you 10 pieces of silver per year, plus clothes and food." So the Levite agreed to stay with the man. The young man was like a son to Micah. Micah paid the Levite. The young man became his priest and lived in Micah's house. Micah said, "Now I know God will make me rich because I have this Levite as my priest." Chapter 18. In those days, Israel had no king. And in those days, the Danite tribe was looking for a place to settle, because at that time they did not yet have a place to call their own among the tribes of Israel. The Danites set out from their whole tribe 5 representatives, capable men from Zorah and Eshtaol, to spy out the land and explore it. They said to them, "Go explore the land." They came to the Ephraimite hill country and spent the night at Micah's house. As they approached Micah's house, they recognized the accent of the young Levite. So they stopped there and said to him, "Who brought you here? What are you doing in this place? What is your business here?" He told them what Micah had done for him, saying, "He hired me, and I became his priest." They said to him, "Seek a divine oracle for us, so we can know if we will be successful on our mission." The priest said to them, "Go with confidence, the Lord will be with you on your mission." So the 5 men journeyed on and arrived at Laish. They noticed that the people there were living securely, like the Sidonians do, undisturbed and unsuspecting. No conqueror was troubling them in any way. They lived far from the Sidonians and had no dealings with anyone. When the Danite returned to their tribe in Zorah and Eshtaol, their kinsmen asked them, "How did it go?" They said, "Come on, let's attack them, for we saw their land and it is very good. You seem lethargic, but don't hesitate to invade and conquer the land. When you invade, you will encounter unsuspecting people. The land is wide. God is handing it over to you, a place that lacks nothing on earth." So 600 Danites, fully armed, set out from Zorah and Eshtaol. They went up and camped in Kiriath Jearim in Judah. To this day, that place is called Camp of Dan. It is west of Kiriath Jearim. From there, they traveled through the Ephraimite hill country and arrived at Micah's house. The 5 men who had gone to spy out the land of Laish said to their kinsmen, "Do you realize that inside these houses are an ephod, some personal idols, a carved image, and a metal image? Decide now what you want to do." They stopped there, went inside the young Levite's house, which belonged to Micah, and asked him how he was doing. Meanwhile, the 600 Danites, fully armed, stood at the entrance to the gate. The 5 men who had gone to spy out the land broke in and stole the carved image, the ephod, the personal idols, and the metal image, while the priest was standing at the entrance to the gate with the 600 fully armed men. Then these men broke into Micah's home and stole the carved image and the ephod, the personal idols, and the metal image. The priest said to them, "What are you doing?" They said to him, "Shut up. Put your hand over your mouth and come with us. You can be our advisor and priest. Wouldn't it be better to be a priest for a whole Israelite tribe than for just one man's family?" The priest was happy. He took the ephod, the personal idols, and the carved image and joined the group. They turned and went on their way, but they walked behind the children, the cattle, and their possessions. After they had gone a good distance from Micah's house, Micah's neighbors gathered together and caught up with the Danites. When they called out to the Danites turned around and said to Micah, "Why have you gathered together?" He said, "You stole my gods that I made, as well as this priest, and then went away. What do I have left? How can you have the audacity to say to me, 'What do you want?'" The Danites said to him, "Don't say any other word to us, or some very angry men will attack you, and your family will die." The Danites went on their way. When Micah realized they were too strong to resist, he turned around and went home. Now the Danites took what Micah had made, as well as his priest, and came to Laish, where people were undisturbed and unsuspecting. They struck them down with a sword and burned the city. No one came to the rescue because the city was far from Sidon, and they had no dealings with anyone. The city was in a valley near Beth Rehob. The Danites rebuilt the city and occupied it. They named it Dan after their ancestor, who was one of Israel's sons, but the city's name used to be Laish. The Danites worshipped the carved image. Jonathan, descendant of Gershom, son of Moses, and his descendants served as priests for the tribe of Dan until the time of the exile. They worshipped Micah's carved image the whole time God's authorized shrine was in Shiloh. Chapter 19. In those days, Israel had no king. There was a Levite living temporarily in the remote region of the Ephraimite hill country. He acquired a concubine from Bethlehem in Judah. However, she got angry at him and went home to her father's house in Bethlehem in Judah. When she had been there 4 months, her husband came after her, hoping he could convince her to return. He brought with him his servant and a pair of donkeys. When she brought him into her father's house, and the girl's father saw him, he greeted him warmly. His father-in-law, the girl's father, persuaded him to stay with him for 3 days, and they ate and drank together and spent the night there. On the 4th day, they woke up early, and the Levite got ready to leave. But the girl's father said to his son-in-law, "Have a bite to eat for some energy, then you can go." So the two of them sat down and had a meal together. Then the girl's father said to the man, "Why not stay another night and have a good time?" When the man got ready to leave, his father-in-law convinced him to stay another night. He woke up early in the morning on the 5th day so he could leave. But the girl's father said, "Get some energy. Wait until later in the day to leave." So they ate a meal together. When the man got ready to leave with his concubine and his servant, his father-in-law, the girl's father, said to him, "Look, the day is almost over. Stay another night. Since the day is over, stay another night here and have a good time. You can get up early tomorrow and start your trip home." But the man did not want to stay another night. He left and traveled as far as Jebus, that is Jerusalem. He had with him a pair of saddled donkeys and his concubine. When they got near Jebus, it was getting quite late, and the servant said to his master, "Come on, let's stop at this Jebusite city and spend the night in it." But his master said to him, "We shall not stop at a foreign city where non-Israelites live. We will travel on to Gibeah." He said to his servant, "Come on, we will go into one of the other towns and spend the night in Gibeah or Ramah." So they traveled on, and the sun went down when they were near Gibeah in the territory of Benjamin. They stopped there and decided to spend the night in Gibeah. They came into the city and sat down in the town square, but no one invited them to spend the night. But then an old man passed by, returning at the end of the day from his work in the field. The man was from the Ephraimite hill country. He was living temporarily in Gibeah. The residents of the town were Benjamites. When he looked up and saw the traveler in the town square, the old man said, "Where are you heading? Where do you come from?" The Levite said to him, "We are traveling from Bethlehem in Judah to the remote region of the Ephraimite hill country. That's where I'm from. I had business in Bethlehem in Judah, but now I'm heading home. But no one has invited me in their home. We have enough straw and grain for our donkeys, and there is enough food and wine for me, your female servant, and the young man who is with your servant. We lack nothing." The old man said, "Everything is just fine. I'll take care of your needs, but don't spend the night in the town square." So he brought him to his house and fed the donkeys. They washed their feet and had a meal. They were having a good time when suddenly some men of the city, some good-for-nothings, surrounded the house and kept beating on the door. They say to the old man who owned the house, "Send out the man who came to visit you so we can have sex with him." The man who owned the house went outside and said to them, "No, my brothers, don't do this wicked thing. After all, this man is a guest in my house. Don't do such a disgraceful thing. Here are my virgin daughter and my guest's concubine. I will send them out, and you can abuse them and do to them whatever you like. But don't do such a disgraceful thing to this man." The men refused to listen to him. So the Levite grabbed his concubine and made her go outside. They raped her and abused her all night long until morning. They let her go at dawn. The woman arrived back at daybreak and was sprawled out on the doorstep of the house where her master was staying until it became light. When her master got up in the morning, opened the doors of the house, and went outside to start on his journey, there was the woman, his concubine, sprawled out on the doorstep of the house with her hands on the threshold. He said to her, "Get up, let's leave." But there was no response. He put her on the donkey and went home. When he got home, he took a knife, grabbed his concubine, and carved her up into 12 pieces. Then he sent the pieces throughout Israel. Everyone who saw the sight said, "Nothing like this has happened or been witnessed during the entire time since the Israelites left the land of Egypt. Take careful note of it, discuss it, and speak." We're ending here today. Next time we're going to be starting from Judges chapter 20. I'll see you then.